It's like the bird got up to get the worm, but the worm was also up and got killed.
The age-old question. The hard-hitting questions here. I love it. Here's my stance on pizza.
I don't know. If this is 100% fictitious.
This is the Narrative Nerds Podcast with Carter Petrie and Shane Ryan. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining Carter and I as our little podcast kicks off here. This is going to be episode 1, which is a kind of, buddy episode to our introduction hot dish. Actually, hold on. Let me back up here. So sorry, Carter. This is my co-host, of course, Carter Petrie. How are you doing, Carter?
I'm doing fabulous. It's been a good day. Spent a lot of time driving through the countryside of Connecticut, seeing some sights, seeing some orange, yellow, green. You know what I mean.
Oh, I hear you there. That sounds quite nice. Do you guys still have a lot of color out there, being that it's fall?
Oh man, it's prime right now. It's as vibrant as it gets.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Pretty much all of our trees are barren now.
Oh.
Just a little unfortunate, but
just
that's
withered
nature.
away. Yeah, I mean, you could go scoop up all the leaves and like glue them back on the trees.
That's not a bad idea. You know what I might do? I might just make my own tree in my living room. Staple up some leaves on there. Bing, bang, boom.
Fish hooks.
Yeah, perfect. So anyways, like I was saying, this is going to be episode number 1. We have already published 1 episode. It's going to be episode 0, kind of like our pilot. But essentially, it's an introduction hot dish where Carter and I talk about growing up, and we tell some real goofy stories from our past. We talk a little bit about, some literature that Carter's read. I tell a story about this book that I bought that was a big mistake. So you'll have to go and listen to that to find that out. And if you guys think this is a pretty cool episode, we strongly recommend you look that up. We'll definitely share that link for you.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying what's coming out, definitely feel free to hit the subscribe button because we're going to be trying to do these as much as possible, and we want as many people to be able to tune in and have a good time with us. Because we're doing this for fun, but the more input that we can get, the better. And we want to hear from you. So,
yeah, absolutely. And it's still kind of up in the air how exactly we're going to share these. So whether it's a subscribe, whether it's a like, whether it's I don't know what other formats of showing you your support there is. If you want to call me, if you have my phone number, call me and give me your support that way. Carter, I'll give them your phone number if they call, vice versa.
I would actually much rather appreciate a care package with just a photograph of you blowing me kisses.
Ooh, that's perfect. Yeah, that would be the best form of support.
Yeah, I really like that.
If that's the case, Carter and I will come to your house and we'll freestyle a podcast specifically for you.
Yeah, we'll put a hip-hop beat on and freestyle.
It's one of our subscription levels. If you send us care packages of footage of you blowing kisses at us, we will come to your house or call you on the phone and give you a personalized podcast.
Yeah, if you're in the top tier of membership.
Yeah, money back guaranteed.
Maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
We could start a little Kickstarter and send you guys some pictures of us blowing kisses back at you. We can do that.
Perfect.
We have the power.
Perfect. Yeah, we have the technology. So let's just jump right in. Carter, what do we got on tap here? What can we do here? Let's do something. I'm ready. I'm fired up.
Well, so there's so many things that you can do while you're alive. So we figured, why not jump into a podcast and, just mess around with as much as possible. So we've got all sorts of games. We've got some things that can create some great thinking, some things that can create some great laughter, and could also could potentially could potentially get you going down a rabbit hole of thoughts. That's really what we're looking for. We're trying to
Perfect.
build tangents, build stories, get people thinking, get ourselves thinking. See how far we can go with ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we are the nerds of the narratives, so we might as well, start somewhere. And hey, everything can be a narrative if if you think about it.
Exactly. So a little game that we like to play sometimes. It's called Would You Rather?
You've probably never heard of it.
Yeah, you've never heard of it. There's no way you've ever heard of it.
Okay, well, throw one at me, Carter, and let's play. I'm ready. Let's jump right in.
All right, Shane, I've got a good one here for you that I believe you're going to have some insight to. So,
okay.
If, hypothetically, you were reborn in a brand new body, brand new life, starting from scratch, would you rather be alive in the past or in the future?
And I can choose like when that would be, or would it just be, roll of the dice?
Any spectrum, any timeline, whether you want it to be BC, AD, or you could even be off the timeline, like away from the spectrum of time. Well, of course, that kind of avoids the question, but
sure,
you make the choice. That could be a post question. We'll get to that.
So I think if I had to choose, I might go with Born in the Past, but I wouldn't go, I probably wouldn't go within like the 1900s or the 1800s. I think I would go further back to the time, to like the Renaissance period, of like
scurvy wench
and stuff like that. I just think that would be really cool. And the Renaissance period was, kind of as the name kind of notes on, it's the rebirth. It's the rebirth of like the arts and humanities and stuff like that. I mean, I might be butchering that, so if I am, you can either let me know or just totally ignore it. But anyways, I think that that's kind of when that's when you found a lot of really cool arts, and whether that be like painting or oration or just a bunch of different styles of art. So I think that'd be really cool. Plus, I mean, I think, well, more than likely I'd be a serf if I were in a kingdom, but how cool would it be if you wore full plate and got to walk around in a sweet, kind of battered up suit of armor? I mean, that sounds really cool.
Ride around on a horse through the countryside and call people peasants.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. But I mean, let's be honest. It was it was probably a really shitty time to live. People would just up and die because, they sleep in mud and shit. So I would assume it would probably suck, but from here, it seems pretty cool. But what about you, Carter? Past or future? Which would you choose?
I think I would force myself to have split personality syndrome, and I would send one of those personalities to the past and one of them to the future. So for the one that went to the past, I would say either I'm a major fan of like the 1850s up to the 1900s because it was an amazing time of like technological advances. So many things were happening. The way that people walked around and talked, little kids on the side of the street screaming, "Paper, paper, read all about it." They had so many. It was such a different time, and I really, really love that feeling of like, the industrial ages were coming to fruition, a couple decades later, and they were building that up. So it was a super suspenseful time of like, what's going to happen to America? But they kept grinding, and there's so many inventors in that day and age because it was like the golden era of like, we've got these dudes that have these amazing brains and they're super creative, and they were like, we know we have needs, so let's fulfill those needs. And they did.
Yeah. I totally hear you. I think being around for the establishment and kind of, being around at the time of young America would just be super cool.
Oh yeah.
So you said split personality disorder, which I would assume means that your body would have to occupy one space. So are you implying that you would physically live during that time period, that late 1800s, early 1900s, but have your mindset be in the future?
It would be, yeah, I mean, well, it would actually just be both of my mindsets because it's split personality. So like one of those mindsets believes it's in the old past. So I guess this is all taking place in my mind.
Okay.
I think my body would just be still current 2018, laying in bed. I'd probably be hooked up to some machine, um, which doesn't seem very natural, but that's what we're doing for the sake of this fiction.
Here's a yeah. Let's jump off fiction. So what would the future be like?
Oh man, I'd like to believe that it was the best form of technologically advanced, where it's not like you have robots running every job. Um, there's nobody doing anything. Everybody's just really fat. Just really the opposite of that kind of more melancholy aspect of like the future. Oh, I'm dreading like flying around in my car and then like machines getting too powerful and like taking over the planet and wiping us as a race. Like because I think we're smart enough when like in this day and age, because this is the age we're in right now. We are the 1870s of that next era, that next evolution. Right now, we are in a new phase of the prerequisite thing that's going to turn into that future. So, and I really think that we're smart enough to make our machines have zero ability to have like feelings. But that's another thing is like people are afraid that robots are going to have feelings and they're going to do whatever they want and they're going to run us as a race. And
Well,
it's
I feel like kind of what you were saying about how we are creating the future. I mean, um, even though it might sound like cliche, like something you see on your school counselor's wall with a picture of a sunset or something.
only it's a robot.
Yeah,
It's like,
only it's
you
a
will be
robot.
mine.
It's a human and a robot holding hands, and there's a priest there, and they're marrying them.
Oh, what,
Um,
Shane? What have you done?
well, that's a story. Now I'm gonna, son of a bitch. Now I'm gonna have to write that.
Yep.
All right, man. I'll call you next week, and we'll do this again.
we'll
when I have a
start
story.
over with that.
Yep. All right. Join us for episode 2. I mean, this is about it. 5 minutes in, and we're done.
All right. Run the theme
No, but I
song.
mean, I think we're exactly what you said. We're creating the future, and I think we are in the age of technology where people are and scientists or whoever. I don't know who's out there creating all this technology, but whoever they are, they're pushing the envelope and seeing what comes out the other side.
Oh, definitely.
Because that's totally how envelopes work.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a withdrawal
and-
system and a deposit system.
yeah, and I'd like to think that the future. Well, I guess I don't know if I'd say I'd like to think this, but I think it's harder to imagine a future where everything is, utopic, where everything is perfect. But I feel like, and this is unfortunate, and I guess this kind of makes sense based on you and I talking over Skype, but I feel like it's going to be a lot similar to this, where people are going out less and talking face to face less, but there's this vast interconnectivity on the online spectrum of, being thousands of miles apart or whatever.
Which we
but still
are
being
right
able
now.
to. Is that how far it is from
I think we're
Connecticut to Minnesota?
I think we're 2,000 miles away.
We're going to have to fact check that.
Because I think it's 4,000 across the country. From the
See,
east
I
to the
don't-
west coast.
I measure an arm's distance because if you're close enough to high five, that's a good distance for me.
So then how
and-
many of those will get you to
Right.
Connecticut?
Right, probably too many.
I measure it in snail speed.
Oh, see, I just go when I say I measure an arm's distance. I just go with if it's far enough away where I can't high five you, you're an unfathomable distance away. So I just don't even think about it. At that point, I'm like, oh well, I don't care.
Nope. No.
You could be 7 feet away, out of arm's reach, or you could be 7,000 miles away and it's all the same.
It's the same difference. If I can't
So
high five you, then what's the point
for
of
all the
even
listeners out
contemplating?
there, the hint you get at how far Carter and I are apart right now is we cannot physically high five each other. At the moment.
But wait, there's more. The future is coming. The technology is going to be so good someday. So that's really where I want to be in the future, is where I can high five you from state to state, away from, or even 15 feet away. I want to be able to get that hand contact, that skin on skin.
That would be really cool. I heard this thing on the. I think it was on a podcast I was listening to where they said something about being able to send a fart through a phone.
What?
Like somebody opens up their phone and there's the fart sound and then you get hit with this just wafting smell.
But you know what that would have
what
to
if
entail?
They could do the same thing?
That would mean that your phone would have to store farts. Like you'd have to buy like canister cartridge add-ons. You're like, oh man, I'm out of farts. I would need people to spam me farts.
I would need an SD card because I would just pack my phone with farts.
Okay, and then what about the BM canister that you get the add-on? So then it's just like shit falls out of your phone.
Yeah.
But you could have free refills. I mean, we do that as humans. Maybe that's the utopia I'm looking for, is just a place where we don't shit anymore.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Hey, speaking of kind of up and coming technology, I've always thought it'd be cool if you had like an implant where you could learn languages really quickly, or where you'd be able to like speak with animals or something crazy like that. So I got another would you rather.
Yeah.
Carter, would you rather be able to speak all languages fluently, or would you rather be able to speak to all animals at all, period?
Oh, that's such a good question, because animals have intuition, they have brains, they are thinking, they do have their ecosystems, they are intelligent, and they have some information that either humans have and it's very primitive and we're like, oh, that's like 101, and we're way past that. So maybe we already have the information that all the animals have, but maybe we don't. Maybe they see something that we could never see because of their environment and their situation. So I would think I would still say speak all languages with humans, just because I feel like the length that humans can go to of conceptualizing ideas would be a bit further than any animal ever could, considering, how far along we are in our civilization, and the fact that we've built that we're talking, and that someday I'm going to be able to high five you from across the country. That's going to happen.
See, I hear you that we might have all the information that animals have. As far as like, you're walking through the woods and you see a deer and you go, hey deer, what are you doing? And the deer's like, food, I'm looking for food. Is that a road over there? Oh shit, a car. Like obviously, we'd have that information, but
human, I gotta get out of here.
Could you imagine how, just awesome it would be to, your dog's barking at you and you're like, what do you want? You food? No, you don't want. But instead, your dog could just be like, I have to shit, dude. Take me outside.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Get me a novel quick.
Or your dog would just be like, well, I saw a leaf rustle outside, so I'm up in arms about it. I'm kind of peeved. And you could, you'd be able to be like, oh shit, you're up in arms. Okay, well, chill, dude. You're good. And your dog would be like, cool, thanks. But being able to speak all languages would just be really cool, because you could like, it would just enable you to network and be social, and you could go anywhere at all or be able to help anyone.
Exactly, man.
Period, just by talking.
Drop into a brand new culture and just like, how's your life? Mm-hmm. What's your life been like? And then like, what's the dude? If you could go to a brand new culture, a brand new location, and if it was like socially not awkward to go, if there's one thing that you would want to tell a stranger about like what you've learned from your experience on this earth, and just say it, briefly, like what's one thing? Because everybody, I'm sure, has got, hundreds of things, but like if you were like, what's the pivotal one thing? I mean, a lot of people are going to be like, be good to each other, like show a lot of love. Don't be confrontational. Don't make problems. Like I mean, unless of course it's needed if you're defending yourself or something. You know, like everyone's gonna have probably a similar thing, but there's gonna be a lot of people that have these great insights. If you could really bust down that wall and go, yeah, like to be able to just walk up and
Yeah, and I think
speak
that
to
goes
someone.
hand in hand with creation. Just being able to share something with anybody or be able to learn something from anybody would just be an incredible ability to have. I mean, it would significantly increase your ability to learn.
So you're going
Um,
with all languages too?
oh no, I'm still going with all animals.
Ah,
I mean,
okay, okay.
this is gonna sound really self centered, but I think it would just be most convenient for me. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think speak all languages is like what I might tell, my like a college professor if they asked me.
Yeah,
Uh, but deep down in my heart, if I could be able to know what the songbirds are gawking about in the morning, that would be cool. Maybe it'd be annoying as shit, but it'd be cool for a while.
definitely. All right,
Yeah.
so here's a would you rather that I just thought of.
Okay.
Would you rather be able to know everything or
Uh
nothing?
huh. Well, I guess it depends. Okay. Here's the thing.
You still have the ability to like speak and like learn stuff,
Sure.
but you're
Sure.
starting at a blank slate, a blank palette versus you have all of the information in the universe, which could be very debilitating.
I think for my current mindset, assuming that I'm the same person, I would go with know everything. Um, because I like to be the subject matter expert. I think that would just be really cool.
Sure.
But I think there's something valuable about the whole ignorance is bliss thing. I mean,
Exactly.
if you could, not to mention everything would be so fresh and new that it would be 100% excitement all the time. You
Exactly
know,
right.
somebody would be like, "Hey, if you put your socks on before you put your shoes on, your shoes will last longer and they won't stink as bad and this and that," and you'll be like, "Oh my god, that is just groundbreaking discoveries every single day." And that would be really cool. I mean, I think that would just be awesome, but I feel like it would be really debilitating in itself because, hey, what are your skills?
Everything.
Or, sorry, job interview style. What are your skills? What do you bring to the table? I'm really easily impressed. Like what?
Yeah.
What would
I
your
don't.
skills be?
Yeah, that is a great side note there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have met a couple people that are stupidly smart,
Hmm.
and it seems as though they don't give off as much excitement. Like when they hear something that's fresh, they just go, "Oh, it's an interesting point."
Yeah,
But a lot of times they already have that information, which yields no excitement in that
reaction.
spectrum. So yeah, if you're like
Or, or maybe they do that thing where they try and one up you, where you're like, "Oh yeah, did you know that moss grows on the south side of trees?" And then they're like, "Well, actually, moss grows on the southwest side of the trees because the precipitation and when the sun hits the zenith point, it actually shines brightest on the southeast side of the tree, and because of that, yada yada yada." And they go on for like 20 minutes.
and then all of a sudden the rock starts talking like you guys don't know shit.
Yeah,
I just wanted to grow
yeah,
some hair.
yeah.
I'm doing what I can here, guys.
Hey Carter, do you have any other fun games we can warm up with?
Um, I mean, yeah, but first I really want to know if you'd rather, only eat pizza for one full year or eat no pizza for a year.
Hmm. The age old question, the hard hitting questions here. I love it. Here's my stance on pizza. I love it. It's the most versatile food out there. Period. I would only eat pizza for a year, and then that next year I would have a highlight reel of all the great pizzas I ate, and I would eat them again.
Oh man. And then you'd reorder. Wait, hold on. Side note to
Okay.
this though, do you have to eat the same like pizza like DiGiorno? You only get DiGiorno. Or is it like you could have like the best pizza from Italy and like, or from like the East Coast, or like
Yeah. Do you
Chicago
want
deep
to?
dish?
Yeah.
It's any kind of pizza, right?
Well, I would say it's any kind of pizza because I'm leaning towards the only eating pizza for a year. So for this instance, I would say, yeah, it's any kind of pizza you want.
Okay, now what if it's just one pizza from one type of pizza? Like you only get pepperoni and it's from this vendor and that's it
If
for a
it's
year.
if it's that, then no. Then because if it's because here's the thing, the other side of that, eat no pizza for a year has zero limitations. It's not like eat no pizza, but you can only eat pasta for that year. No, it's
Exactly.
like
You get
the
everything
other,
else.
eating only pizza for a year, you'd have to have a little bit more variance in that.
Exactly. I feel
I
that.
think another important question we should ask is what constitutes a pizza? Does it have to have a crust, sauce, toppings, cheese? Is it one of those things where you could stretch it and say, oh, well, I dipped this breadstick in marinara sauce and I drizzled some Parmesan on it. Is that a pizza?
That's a pizza stick. And I agree with it. I think it's down
So
because it's still kind of pizza. You're still in the genre.
Yeah. You're still in the food genre.
The pizza genre.
So I think
I like
I'd go
death
with
metal
eating.
pizza. Sorry.
What would you choose? Eating only pizza or no pizza?
I think I would have to go with everything but pizza for a year. I love pizza, man. It's my blood. Sort of. I mean, I did work at a pizza place and I did literally only eat pizza for...
Not for a year, though.
It was more like 3. I mean, yeah, we had like salads and sandwiches and cookies and obviously that was just like lunch and dinner. I would have, a nice fat bowl of Fruit Loops before. But at the same time, I was eating pizza at least once a day. Because I was working at this place, 6 days a week, something like that. And I would always get a free pizza. So I would say I've already lived that. But if it's the right kind of pizza, it doesn't matter.
See, and I think there's an important difference here. I'm not afraid who hears me say it, but I am a supporter. I'm a pizza supporter. This message brought to you and sponsored by Shane Ryan, pizza supporter. So I think if you were eating the same type of pizza, like the pizza place you worked at, which by the way, I was over in that area the other day and it's not there anymore.
No, it's been gone for years, man. But it was I think top 5 best pizzas I've ever had. Like I've tried, yeah. People all disagree with me, and I think it's because I made the pizza myself. I put my own love into it, like a mother does with that fresh apple pie. There's something about that apple pie that's better than any other apple pie.
Fair. I mean, when I worked at Jimmy J's, those were the best sandwiches. Now when I order them, I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
It's because they're not putting that love in, like, for you.
Yeah. You're not kissing every pepperoni. Like you usually do. Which I'm surprised that they fired you over that. I mean, you were putting so much love in there that no one else could get close to, but apparently kissing all the pepperonis and toppings isn't good.
You don't want to be kissing all the food. There's a serious problem with the
that's a no-no in the food industry, I guess.
Yeah. So. Which is kind of dumb because it's just love.
Yeah, everybody likes love.
Yeah, but I also didn't brush my teeth ever, so. Their pepperonis were tasting like old coffee.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, I got a question for you, Shane.
Okay.
What if?
Okay.
If somebody wrote a story about you, would you consider yourself to be portrayed as a hero or a villain in this story? I mean, I already know what the answer is. Personally,
shit.
If I wrote the story, I already know what it would be. You'd be the worst villain I've ever met.
I think I would be the anti-villain where everything I did was in best interest, but I would always fuck it up so that it would end poorly on accident. I would be that really clumsy guy who ends up being the villain,
on accident.
Yeah, exactly. What about? Okay, hold on. So
is this fiction or is this like a story of your life? Like an a biography of some sort.
I guess I would assume it'd be fiction. Like if somebody took you and your personality and plopped you into a fiction
Okay, I like
piece.
that better.
Well, okay, so what did you say I would be?
No, I was kidding. You'd definitely be some sort of a superhero, and I
Oh,
think you would
nice.
use your beard to your advantage in some way, like Friction Man or something, and you just rub your beard on people, and they would get rashes and they'd
Fr-
run.
Friction Man. Yeah,
Friction
they'd be like,
Man.
"Oh, rug burn. I'm
Insert
getting
your
out of here."
Friction Man theme song here.
All right. Well, I got the answer of what I think you would be, but what do you think you'd be?
I don't know. If this is 100% fictitious, if that's a word, I like fictitious.
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 I like that. That's a new word. I don't like fictitious. I'm gonna use fictitious from now on.
Okay, fair enough.
If it's
I'll know
fictitious,
what you're talking about.
I think I would. I don't know. I think we would be some kind of a tag team hero
Nice.
duo.
Okay, let me throw this at you because I think we have our answer for that one. If you and I were a superhero duo, one, what would our duo name be? And two, what would our superpowers be?
Hmm. Are we
Here's
straying?
what I
Am
think.
I straying
Here's
away from the beard? Is that lame? Does
well, I'm gonna
it?
stray away from it, and then you can go about it. I'm gonna go back to the high five idea, and um, I think we're like the the Thunder Twins or something. The name's still work in progress, but we'd high five, and the sonic waves, the force waves would
Ooh.
blow people away, literally.
The Adventures of Thunder Boys.
Flawless.
A high five extravaganza. Tune in every week.
Who would our villains be?
Oh, fist bump for sure.
Fist. Oh,
The
I
fist bump
fucking
brothers.
hate fist bump. Oh, the fist pump, the fist bump five.
Ugh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, but then we also would have the Pack of the Chew.
Uh huh.
Which I don't know
Handshake.
to all of the listeners out there that have absolutely zero idea what we're talking about. Back in our day, every time we would shake hands, say what's up to each other, we would do our our little high five, grab the hand, slip the fingers, pop the fist, and then just as they do in the MLB to pack up a little chew
Or the NHL.
or the NHL, yeah.
If they chew. Or just anybody who likes a fat chop,
Vacha,
a five finger death pinch.
vacha.
I think our arch
spoof band.
I think our arch nemesis would be the notorious Harold Handshake.
Harold Handshake. Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh. What does that imply? A Harold Handshake.
I don't know. He probably wears a suit though.
I could see a suit, maybe a chain for some reason, because he's kind of an asshole.
Oh yeah, okay.
Suit and a chain. But now, what is a Harold Handshake? Is it like you make an H with your fingers and then?
No,
you
I just meant
link 'em?
Harold was his name.
Oh,
Yeah.
Harold the Handshake.
Yeah, and he does that thing where he like shakes your hand, but he like does it super aggressive, so that he's asserting that he's the dominant one. kind of
Makes
thing.
all your knuckles click.
Yeah.
Just turns your hand into a scrunched up mess.
Uh-huh. And that's why I think he'd be our arch nemesis, because it would hurt then once we did the high five.
Oh, okay.
But
I like that.
of course, in because this is going to turn into a movie. At the end of the movie, of course, even though our hands are broken, we'd sacrifice it all for that one huge high five, maybe even the double high fives.
Oh,
And
it
we'd
would be
just-
the double.
And spoiler alert, it would blow Harold away.
So don't go watch the movie. You know what's gonna happen.
Yep, yep.
It would
Hey,
send
Carter.
everybody into a deep sleep, and that would be hilarious. If you, speaking of sleeping, if you could spend your life, what if you could spend your life never sleeping? Like, what would you do?
Be a lot of extra time. I think what I would do, I get really good at like Tetris or something. Yeah. I think I'd
Really
just
good.
master all those skills that like people don't really value that much, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, check this out. I'm really good at lacing shoes. I can do that one where you like weave them in between and make like a wicker basket on your shoes that you can
Like,
eat cereal out of them.
little known
Something like
fact,
that.
I can make uh, house cards. What do they call that? House of cards. I can make like a
You were so
50.
close.
So close. It was just mixed wrong.
Yeah.
I would just make like a mansion. Like I would actually build an entire house only
Out of
made of
cards.
cards. Yes.
Ooh,
And none of them
nice.
would be glued, so don't let the wind come around.
No.
So you need a full structure around the house, like brick
Right.
walls.
Yeah.
I could hire Trump to do that for me. And
Well,
then
if you didn't want to pay for it, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
By the way, for anyone listening, don't tell us your political views. We're just goofing. I don't know enough about that whole shindig. That's just our friendly reminder that it's goofs. We don't need to get political.
Yeah, so the next question is who are you going to vote for on Tuesday, Shane?
Yeah. See, I think with all that extra time I would have,
You'd vote.
So I have this terrible. No, I actually wouldn't.
I would.
Because when I wouldn't be sleeping would be at midnight. And I don't think they're open then. But
Nah.
I think I would. So I have this terrible habit, and I always feel really bad because I just am terrible at acquiring new hobbies all the time.
Mm.
I mean, I just have this laundry list of hobbies. And I think what I would do is I would just like acquire so many hobbies if I didn't ever sleep,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, dude, you'd be
Like-
doing everything all the time.
Yeah.
Would you get better at
Exactly.
multitasking?
I don't think I would be. I mean, I'm fairly good at time management, which enables me to not multitask. So I don't think I would try and maybe that would be one of the hobbies I'd take up, would just be multitasking.
Oh, yeah. That is a hobby. It's like
Yeah.
a verb of a verb.
Here's what I would do, Carter. I would work on my foot dexterity, you know? So I would just like start eating cereal with my toes and like
Oh,
work
nice.
on writing my name with my feet or like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Something that the use for it is absolutely minimal unless you're like, you know, hanging from a building by your hands and somebody's like, "Oh, give me the thumbs up if you're in need of help or something," and you're like, "Oh, I can't, but my feet are right here. I can do that." Yeah.
And that way,
my
if you
big
ever
toe.
lost your arms, you'd be good.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a good friend who used to live in the house here in Connecticut. He moved out to California last year. Shout out, Frank, if you're listening.
We love you, Frank.
Yeah, so he got in a car accident when he was a teenager, I believe, and he had a lot of therapy, you know, like rebuilding his strength, and he lost ability with his, I want to say it was his whole right side, but it could have just been his right arm or right hand, and he took up the left hand, and still to this day, you know, he's actually very, what is that word, ambidextrous? Able to use both hands, so he uses a lot of both hands. I find myself doing that too, being a drummer. You know, I do a lot of things with both hands. And I also try to compartmentalize it. So like, all right, left hand, you're grabbing that soda, while right hand, you're doing this. And try to do it on like autopilot almost. Like let it just happen, you know? And it also kind of comes from driving a manual vehicle for a while. Like when I get in the car, I'm taking the e-brake off, turning the lights on, flipping the windshield wipers on, putting it in reverse, looking backwards. All of this in like a 4-second span. It's definitely muscle memory, but at the same time, it's a little bit like. And then you're also working with your feet too, so everything's got its own job, but it all comes down to muscle memory. So it's really just training that ability. I say if I never slept, I would research how to sleep because I love sleeping. That would blow. I'm like a 365 24/7 hibernator.
Yeah.
Go to bed at 6 o'clock and wake up at 4 p.m.
Probably like 1:30 or 2.
Oh, no, it's more like 4
growing
p.m.
up, so I've always been a really early bird because my mom would always be like, "It's 9 o'clock. You've slept in 2 hours too late." Shout out, mom, because I'm sure you're gonna listen to this just out of courtesy.
Hey, Kendra, what's good?
Um, but if we were like still sleeping at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, oh man, you were wasting your day. It might as well be, midnight and you slept all day because it's gone. But I would always get up real early, and whenever I wanted to hang out with Carter, I would like just set an alarm for noon. And by then, I knew growing up that if I called Carter at like noon, we might be able to hang out at like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because the Petrie boys are sleepers,
Sleepers
Talking.
and we're usually a wince late.
Oh
Just a
no! I mean, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know what the clock setup in the Petrie house was, but
There
I
is
can
no
almost
clocks.
Yeah.
We
I
just
can
go
almost-
by the sun. We've got sundials, man.
Yeah, I can almost get. Oh, it's cloudy today. Sorry, we're just not showing up. Take a guess.
There's no time for today.
Yeah,
We'll wait
just
for
a
the
little
sun to
bit.
come up tomorrow.
Just a little bit.
You got more to say about that? Because I got a question for you.
No, let's jump. Keep going.
All right. Why is the worm portrayed so terribly? Why does the worm get the shit end of the stick in the phrase "the early bird gets the worm"? It's like the bird got up to get the worm, but the worm was also up and got killed.
Oh, see, I always interpreted it as the early bird was, it was getting that worm. It was like doing the dance move, the worm.
Oh, nice.
Like, oh, make sure you get up early so you can make it to your dance class where you are learning,
the worm.
90s hip hop dance moves.
Doing the robot.
Yeah.
The moonwalk.
Yep. That's why I always didn't understand when people would give me a funny look when I would go, "Yep, the early bird gets the head spin."
And the windmill, yeah.
Yeah, and the windmill, yeah. Exactly.
No, I always felt bad.
But I
for
hear
the
you.
worm.
I think there are those age-old adages. Adages? Is that the plural of adage? Sure.
That's a word now.
Where there's always the person that has that shit end of the stick.
And it's not fair. They don't make these phrases utilitarian. It's not all about the common happiness. It's just like, this is a phrase and run with it because it's a phrase and I made it up and a lot of people have said it for 100 years. So take it at face value. Don't open it up because it's not going to work.
Exactly.
I meant what I meant. The worm doesn't have feelings.
So on that note, it has nothing to do with that, but I have another what if for you.
Yeah.
And this one, I guess this makes sense because we're kind of in the holiday spirit. It's November 1st when we're recording this, so we just are on the tail end here. We just passed that Halloween mark. Carter, if you could create a holiday, what holiday would you create, and what would it celebrate, and like why would you create that holiday?
I think I'm pretty sure it's already some sort of a holiday. I would make like a music holiday and like everybody in like towns would come together like in the center of town or in the park and there would just be like hundreds of drums and xylophones and saxophones and basses and guitars and pianos and they were all set up and ready to go and anybody could just come.
And hopefully, like, like gourds or like the little egg shakers or something for us that don't know how to play musical instruments.
Everything musical. And you can have your whim at it, just like give it a go, see what happens. Maybe you will find out that, oh man, I've been a tuba player my whole life and I've never played. I just found out this deep secret about myself. It's been hidden until this day. And not only would you have a lot of people that would go, oh man, like I just figured something out new about myself and I want to do more of that. But also it would just be so fun. and you would also create so many great little, like, I mean, you'd never make any masterpieces because there'd be a lot of people that are totally dicking around. But it would be pretty dang cool, like driving down the street and just hearing like, and then you go to the next town, it's like different genres as you go, but it's all just gibberish, and it's great because people are having fun.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. It'd be like jam band day or something like that, you know?
Exactly. Yep. How about you?
Yeah.
What's your holiday?
Oh man, I think it would be. See, this is a tough question because I jump to like, oh, what do I like the most? But I think what type of okay, so my holiday that I would create would be a week long.
Like Hanukkah.
And each day, it would be like a themed kind of thing.
Ooh.
You know, and it'd be something that everybody could
like
yeah, where like
homecoming
like week you had like, oh, Wacky Wednesday where you'd wear, you know, like your ski boots and you know, like tights with a baseball jersey and a cowboy hat. Yeah.
Ski boots on in school. It's like 95 degrees out. That was the dinner bell.
Yep. Sorry. Eric was calling me. Eric, when you listen to this, I'm sorry I ignored your call.
Tough luck, bud.
Yeah. No,
Eric.
Yeah, we both love you, Eric. I'm so sorry. No, I think for my holiday, I would probably do some sort of like food-oriented holiday.
Ooh. Pizza day.
Wherever you were going, it would be just like normal, but it'd be like potluck week, and each day it'd be, you know, like the first day is Italian food, and so, you know, everybody brings an Italian dish that day, and the next day would be like, you know, sliders day, where everyone would bring a different slider with something different on it or whatever, and you would just have a week where you just got fat as shit just eating all this food. That sounds like heaven.
Is there a post holiday that follows where everybody hits the gym and like?
No, the holiday that follows is
toilet week
and self-loathing week.
Self-loathing, yes.
Yeah.
Fear and loathing in your bathroom.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right.
That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that would be sweet. So
like a week-long Thanksgiving, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what else do we got on tap here for the people, Carter? Let's keep it rolling. Should we? I know we've had some early advertisers reach out to us.
We do.
Do you want to?
There's a couple folks out there that have. I mean, I know we just started, and that maybe only a couple people are going to listen to this, but there's a lot of people that reached out to us. You know, Nike was on the phone with Shane earlier this morning, seeing how they could get involved. YouTube was like, they were willing to give you a headline spot on the front of YouTube for 9 years if you can just keep producing this material.
We just didn't want to sell out, you know.
Exactly. I mean, we just started. We didn't want to go right into the deep end so fast. We wanted to.
Right.
It's like a relationship. You don't want to start dating day one. You gotta test the waters a little bit. So
yeah, get to know us first. Don't. Yeah. Well, anyways, Carter, let's jump into the ads. Let's jump into the ad lab.
Advertisements.
So we've got a couple other sponsors out there that have been getting in touch with us, and one of them that is really, really a great new idea that's coming out is
Caffeine Cadet.
Are you tired of that 3 o'clock crash?
Thinking you need a nap instead of going to little Timmy's T-ball game? Well, pick up a pack of Caffeine Cadets and throw those tired thoughts in the trash can. Caffeine Cadets are single-use syringes loaded with pure caffeine. Only the best stuff. Deep from South America. Insert the syringe directly into your arm or thigh and enjoy getting the most out of that day. Order online today at caffeinecadet.net and save 15% when you use the coupon code High Blood Sugar. Pressure. Warning. This product contains dangerous amounts of caffeine and is not doctor recommended. Side effects include dirty looks from concerned parents as you shoot up in the parking lot at Little Timmy's T-ball game, track marks caused by overuse, and heavy addiction. See a doctor if you are up for 48 hours or more.
Yeah, great product. Especially when you're just dogging on those days. Caffeine Cadets, they're go-to. They sent us each some starter pack stuff, and I've been wired for the last 3 days.
Dude,
really
I haven't
out.
slept in months.
Yeah.
Like we got this stuff and we've been just doing podcast after podcast and it's just gibberish. We're actually on the come down right now. This is the kind of like the phase where we're able to do the podcast, but we're not like shaking our computers off the tables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the only intelligible hours worth of recording, and we probably recorded about 37 and a half hours of stuff. So
give or take.
This is the final product, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, none of this is live, by the way. We've only been clip arting, all of our segments together.
Yeah.
It's actually like none of it made any sense. Even the sentences didn't make sense. We're just taking word for word, like Caffeine Cadet.
Yeah.
Syringe. And it was like hundreds of different stories. We just spent a lot of our hyper hours piecing this stuff together, which is working out.
Because we stopped sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Carter, I got another awesome product for you.
Oh, dude, lay it on me. I'm really stoked about it.
This one comes from a company called
Suit Stand-In.
Has the man got you working day in and day out on monotonous projects? Are you tired of the 9-to-5 hustle? Suit Stand-In is here to give you the break you deserve. Suit Stand-In is a groundbreaking, lifelike mannequin that will take your place in your day so you can spend your time living the life you want and not the life you have. Just dress the mannequin in your clothes and choose 3 of the convincing pre-programmed responses. Responses include, "That's a great idea," "Working hard or hardly working," "Let me get back to you after I've had my coffee." The Suit Stand-In can be yours for just 3 easy payments of $79.99. So call today, and that number is 1-800-STAND-IN, that's STANDIN, and order your suit today. But wait, if you call in the next 5 minutes, they'll throw in the Power Playback for free. With the Power Playback, you can have your own personalized responses. Take your Suit Stand-In to the next level by pre-recording your own playback responses. Soon enough, your boss won't know the difference between you and your stand-in.
Oh, dude, I love that. And honestly, we have been using this product nonstop. We haven't even been at our computers working on these podcasts, piecing all of it together. We've got our stand-ins doing the work while we're hyperventilating in the corner.
This is how I got through my, 4.5 years of college. I would just send my Suit Stand-In to class, and bing, bang, boom, C's get degrees. Hand me that diploma, baby.
We are mannequins as we speak. We've revamped the responses from "That's a great idea," "Working hard, hardly working." I can't do anything until I have my coffee. We've kind of opened up the mannequin a little bit, and we've in our restless hours, we've just spent typing away.
Tinkered with the technology and whatnot.
We've got it pretty close.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, absolutely. So Carter, I know we got one more. We got one more awesome product for our listeners. Do you want to kick this one off?
I do, yes, because I really resonate with it. as a millennial. There's a lot of times where I don't even know what I'm saying. The words are lodged in my mind, but I don't know what it is. It just comes out. It's kind of like a stand-in, like pre-programmed information, and I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. But let's give you a little bit more of a backstory on the
Millennial microphone.
Are you convinced about what it means to be salty? Are you unsure about why your kids say their chino pants are on fleek? Still don't know what Fortnite is?
From the makers of the Baby Boomer Biography and the Generation Why Is It Like That DVD comes the next generational decoder. The Millennial Microphone is a sleek and discreet microphone that records the conversations of millennials and displays helpful definitions for their generational jargon.
That's right. By learning words like twerk, lit, and woke, you'll be able to relate. By learning words like twerk, lit, and woke, you'll be able to relate to the up and coming generation in no time. For the low price of $34.95, you'll receive a standard microphone. And if you order online with the coupon code BRUHAF, you'll receive the pocket microphone for free. With the pocket microphone, you can relate to the youth of today on the go. Stay lit, fam.
Oh man, that one's a great one. I bought my my grandma this for her birthday, and she has been, just spamming me with all of her newfound
lingo.
Her new lingo that she's just been killing it with. Grandma is officially woke.
She woke.
Yeah. Yeah, so like we said, those are some of our awesome products. But let's jump back into what we got working with, because I think it's time we actually talk about some stories. Carter, what do you think?
I think that's a great idea. So there's another little snippet we like to jump into. Take a word, take a sentence, take a small little baby-sized story, and see how dramatic it can become with just a small amount of words. So I'm going to reel it off here. I'm going to get it going with this nice one that my good colleague, SPR, Mr. Shane Patrick Ryan, has bestowed upon us. It goes as such. A mouse pad, a doorknob, headphones, sex, cufflinks, shoelaces. None of these accomplish anything on their own.
Wow, you made it sound way better than it did in my head. What are your initial thoughts?
I would say this one is, I really like this one because of the different things that you threw into it, of course. All very random things that we don't really contemplate much, of course, other than like maybe sex and like cufflinks if you're getting arrested. But yeah, they're not really things we like contemplate. And breaking down objects like table, there's no sense in having a table if there's nothing on it. If it's not being utilized, that's what I think is great about this sentence, is that it's just kind of shining that light on the fact that inanimate objects are useless without our using them, putting them to their use.
Yeah. Quick little, rewind here. So what we put together this week are sentence stories.
Sentence stories.
Which basically attempt to provide an aura, provide some sort of narrative within the confines of one single sentence. And so, so the couple we went over, or the couple that we're going to go over, I wrote. And so just a little precursor to this little sentence stories segment here. But yeah, Carter, I think you make a good point in the fact that things don't really have that value or have a use unless we know how to use them or what context they belong in. And so I think, like by taking these items out of context, it removes their, especially, kind of the fact that they don't really relate, kind of removes their meanings in a way,
Definitely. Yep.
Like, for instance, cufflinks, when I wrote that, I was thinking the little cufflinks that you put on your suit coat. Or, I'm sorry, on your dress shirt. But the links of handcuffs make it even more interesting because you're right. I mean, an individual link, like on a chain, would have zero use unless it had other links and that clasp that goes around your wrist. I mean, you're absolutely right. That works too.
That's a great point, man. And the shoelaces are nothing without the shoes.
Right, yeah. And I mean...
doorknob's nothing without the door or the hand to open it. The mouse pad without the pad. Or the mouse.
Exactly. And I think that that's kind of how... I mean, if you want to get real big about it, I think that's how a lot of things are in life where, like, things don't really have any use unless they're used correctly. And I think that also, we, much like the things that we use, like a mouse pad that is only useful if you have a mouse to use on that pad, or a doorknob that fits into a door. We need things to help us be functional, and we need other things that enable us in the way that, like shoelaces enable shoes to stay on the feet.
Yeah. So here's a question. Is there anything, this could be a totally unanswerable question, or it could be like the most obvious answer. At the moment, I'm not coming up with anything though. Is there anything that is out there in the world that doesn't have, I don't know, I think I'm losing my train. I think the train is pulling out of the station without me aboard it. Because it hardly made sense when I contemplated it.
I think, are you going for the idea that is there anything on the earth that has a use in and of itself?
Without us using it.
Without us using it.
Or without it having, like, the operator to use it. Is there anything that, like, gets a job done? I mean, I guess maybe, like, air.
But I guess air doesn't really have a use, because we just kind of use it.
Without us actually mentally being like, oh, I need to take this air in now, and I need to let go of this carbon dioxide now. But that's more of like a natural movement. I don't know if that comes out of the context of this, but also at the same time, the question didn't make really a whole lot of sense. So I think it's safe to say it was a stupid question.
If we're gonna look at that question, we have to eliminate everything that nature does, because nature is it's obviously natural, hence its name. But it's natural in the sense that it continues. Like, you can't be like, oh, the sun, because the sun, like, we're acting in response of the sun, and so the fact that the sun rises and sets without us doing anything, I mean,
it's still
since
doing
it's nature,
its
and since that's how things work, for lack of scientific explanation, I think we have to discredit that. But as far as man-made things, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's just the best way to put the answer to that question is anything that's not made by man or woman for use. Anything that's outside of that, so anything natural, is going to do what it's going to do. And then everything that we make, if it doesn't have an operator of some sort, then it's...
What about a clock that runs on, like, solar power or something?
Interesting.
Because then you really don't have to do anything with it.
You don't, and you're still getting use out of it.
Right.
And it's man-made. Oh, I think you broke it. You've broken it.
Shit. Sorry, guys. I broke it. Let me hold on. Let me try and find. Let me look in my wallet. I think I have the receipt.
Yeah, just send it back.
Okay.
All right,
But
let's dive into
kinda,
another one here.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Do you got more to say about that, or are we?
I think my resonating thought is just that, you know, much like everything that we create and that we share and that we love or hate or whatever, everything has two sides. Everything is, relationship based, and I think that's the way. I think that's kind of the resonating thought that I had when writing this sentence, was just that, these things taken out of context have a certain connotation or denotational purpose, but when they're put in the right context, they can be beautiful things that really enable something great. The mouse pad of a great writer who's clicking away, or something like that. I mean, that enables them to use a mouse, to use a computer to be better, or like the doorknob that enables a person to walk through the door and walk into a hospital and receive treatment for a disease they once thought was terminal. Or the headphones that allow Carter and I to talk all the way across the country, or the sex that brought you into the world, or the cufflinks that just was the icing on top of the cake, for your look, or even the cufflinks that, maybe held the hands together of a, really terrible criminal or something and took that off the streets. Yeah. Or the shoelaces that remained tied so you didn't fall on your face. Like, it all has that cause and effect that reaches further than you would ever see if you just took them at face value and saw them as, well, that, those headphones are useless because I don't have an electronic to plug them into, or like,
definitely
whatever.
Yeah, I think what I took out of this mostly is the fact that, like, so many inanimate things in this world that help us live and do things that we got to do we have unnoted mutual agreements with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never really spoken about, like a painting on the wall. It's like, oh, you take a second to look at it, and the painting would have zero meaning if there were no eyes to gaze upon it. So there's that mutual agreement where it's like, I'm here serving you something to look at for a moment, but I would be nothing without your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've really opened that one up enough. All right, let's get into the next one. You wanna kick this bad boy off?
Sure. Yeah. Do you want to do the other one that I wrote, or do you want to do a different one?
You can do the one that you wrote.
Okay. I feel kind of weird talking about my writing because I don't want to feel like it's like, oh, I know all the answers about it. Because the thing about take that cufflinks example. Carter brought up an angle of that I didn't even see. So when I'm talking about my own writing, I'm just saying where my mind was at. But which I think is good.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, you get kind of like the insight of it.
Exactly. It's like reading the back of the book up front.
Yeah.
Getting a little
absolutely.
Extra.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's jump into the next one here. It only took 7.5 pounds, cradled delicately in his arms, to turn the addict's life around. And I'll read that one again just so that, you guys get it at home, because I've been told that I'm a really bad mumbler. Which I don't know if I agree with that. It only took 7.5 pounds, cradled delicately in his arms, to turn the addict's life around.
I really like this one. When you shared it with me the other night, we were chatting about it, and I think it's such a powerful little sentence because of the weight of what addiction can be for some folks. And the fact that, like, a newborn child, a new piece of life that has came into this addict's life, has completely defaced the chains he's been in, which is I think it's a really cool piece that you did. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that's I think you're right on the nose there too. That it takes something. Sometimes it does take something external to completely alter, personal trajectory. Something I was thinking as I read through it was like 7.5 pounds. I mean, it paired with cradled delicately in his arms, and just kind of like the miracle of birth and everything. I mean, it implies that it's a baby, but what if it were something different? Like, what if it were 7.5 pounds of literature, like literature on, drug addiction, or literature on rehab facilities and stuff like that. Or,
that's a great point, man. There's an underlying potential.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's still open-ended.
Or maybe it's 7.5 pounds of straight, cold, hard, sweaty, stinky, filthy cash,
True, man. Sweaty.
Because maybe the addict's life was turned in the right direction, and that turned him back around.
Yeah, what if it was like crack?
Direction.
7.5 pounds of crack. he's like, dude, I can't do all this crack.
Christ.
I'm done.
Christ. Yeah.
Well, I really hope if this story is pertaining to a baby, I hope that baby was not a crack baby. I hope it came out.
That would. Yeah.
I hope it came out all right.
Yeah. Hopefully it was a healthy 7.5 pound. I don't know how big babies are as far as inches go. I know that's a popular measurement for a baby. A little babel. But hopefully it was a healthy little thing.
Yeah, I'm sure he made it, or she.
Yeah.
I mean, considering Pa was off the juice, I think he probably had a good life.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it took.
Well, I think, I think. Interesting question here for you. What's your favorite word out of that? And I'll read it one more time for our listeners that aren't looking at the screen. It only took 7.5 pounds, cradled delicately in his arms, to turn the addict's life around. Which word speaks to you most?
I would say either turn / around, the same thing. Or maybe delicately.
I was going to say delicately as well. I think it provides some awareness, some recognition.
He's not just holding this thing like, what is this?
Right.
Like baby. He's like, this is my child, and I'm here for you, little baby. I'm gonna take care of you.
It could be like placed in his arms or something like that, where it's just
could have been thrown.
So, yeah, where it's just so, it's an unimportant thing. But to do something delicately means that you're valuing it. You're buying into the idea that this thing is very breakable and it's fragile, and that you have to be gentle with it. And I think that's for me. That was my.
Yeah, because you would see a drug addict being a little bit like, fast moving, maybe like...
Yeah, kind of like gruff, a little surly and rough around the edges.
Yeah, somebody who shouldn't be holding babies.
Yeah, and when I think of this, I imagine, like the really rough and calloused, dirty hands of somebody holding this clean, 7.5 pound baby that's fresh into the world and is impressionable and is, just this new life. And it's almost, for me, I get the impression that it's like a out of body rebirth, that it's not, that this thing that's a new life created a new life for somebody who maybe hasn't been fortunate.
Yeah, it was a reoccurring gift.
Right. Yeah.
Which is cool.
And And even though, like, maybe that addict has no money and doesn't know how he's going to provide for this 7.5 pound baby. Maybe he's incredibly scared and worried. Whatever the circumstances may be, the fact that it's able to turn his life around or whatever is the silver lining, that benefit, that one thing that gives you hope for that baby and gives you hope for that addict.
Definitely.
Because, I think it gives them value for each other.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, yeah, even this could be like a dude like Wolf of Wall Street, like addicted to some drug and is very financially stable, but but has no. I think that's actually in that movie. He has I don't know. Does he have a child and ends up kind of coming back to the light, or is that he's just kind of off the handle and like loses his family?
I think he kind of loses everything.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but that's kind of where my mind went for a second there while you were talking about, whether he didn't have money or did. Regardless, I was thinking like, yeah, if he was super successful and like had quotations everything he wanted, and was like still doing drugs and stuff to like cope with his high amounts of stress, and then that baby was like all it took to be like, everything that I've been doing doesn't matter, and this is really all that matters. This is what I need to feel happy, and I don't know. That's a great one.
Yeah,
we could talk about that one for a while.
Yeah, maybe it's 7.5 pounds. It's a baby, but it's also this medium of perspective. I mean, I think that's a great point you bring up. Like, maybe they have everything, but maybe this is the one part they were missing,
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we definitely unpacked that one a bit. So we'll wrap it up here, but before we do, let's talk about next time, Carter. Given that we're just into November, we're still trying to pick up on the Halloween threshold here. So Carter and I were thinking that we wanted to do kind of a Halloween or maybe even like a horror-ish genre, a thriller maybe, where we're going to write a short story. And Carter, I was thinking in the flash fiction genre, so where
definitely
flash fiction is essentially, between, 200 or like 100 to like 500 words tops.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to create an antagonist and a protagonist. We're going to create an antagonist, a setting, and a main character. And then when we come back next week, we'll talk about those stories so you guys can see what we wrote. So Carter, any ideas for an antagonist who might be the bad guy?
Let's see. It's definitely got to be fresh. Something exciting. I would say it could be. I definitely want setting to be like. I don't know. Is graveyard a little bit overused in this flash fiction realm?
Well, let me ask you this. Well, let's start with the setting, because I think we might be able to build off that. To you, what is a place that makes you uncomfortable?
Definitely, I would say a graveyard or like a butcher's shop.
Okay.
But both very used in horror.
Sure.
So I think it would be an interesting twist if it was in the sense of a vacation. In a very, very like calm and peaceful place like the beach. A place where you're like, oh, there's no horror that can happen here. This is the setting here is very safe and comfortable, and
maybe you see like some palm trees.
Definitely.
Maybe it's Christmas time.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, I like where that's going. So, who would the metaphorical camera be on in this setting? Who would be our main character, our protagonist?
I would say, I don't know. Do you got any ideas?
I think something that would be interesting, because you always see like these young, beautiful people, or in your head you always imagine the young, beautiful people in horror genres.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back here. I noted Christmas time, but I'm gonna take that out because we originally talked about Halloween theme. So let's just go vacation and beach and palm tree for our settings.
Yep.
And we'll build off that on our own. But I think for our main character or characters, I think it should be an elderly couple that is celebrating
an anniversary of some sort.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it's different.
Okay.
They could be. Ooh, I don't know. Is this getting into the controversial realms? I think it's safe. Jewish, and we're in the. They were alive during World War II. So there is that sense of like, I don't know. This could be like a Nazi zombies kind of spin at the beach.
See, and well, here's the thing. I think we leave it at elderly anniversary couple, and we can build on our own. So if it's like, you know, in my mind, it could be elderly celebrating their 63rd anniversary as a couple. But in your mind, maybe they're celebrating the anniversary of like something like that, you know, some large life event or whatever. For instance, you know, like the end of World War II or like, you know, something like that.
Yeah, and the survival that they went through. And
yeah, so I'd say let's leave it a little open-ended.
Yeah, and with a foreshadowing of potential like fighting. You know, for any problems that occurred, considering they've already been through such a fight.
Sure.
That's kind of
Carter.
I'm thinking at the moment.
Let's get an antagonist in the mix, something that could create a downfall. I guess first off, is this going to be a physical antagonist, maybe a person or some sort of being? Do we want it to be a non-tangible antagonist, like a disease or something like that?
I was thinking more physical or supernatural.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe questionably supernatural. Like, well, that could still be a deranged person. Yeah, and I don't know. Any ideas? It's the Great Pumpkin.
I was thinking maybe we do something like, you know, maybe it is a physical thing, but it maybe creates something not physical that...
Oh, that could be cool.
Maybe not like, you know, maybe not the serial killer with a knife and he's hiding in the closet at night during a full moon. You know, maybe it's the person that's a little too friendly or something, you know, that creates some insecurities or something like that. I don't know. I mean,
I like that. For setting, you should write in Maine. Because
Maine?
I think that would be like a really... Because, you know, a lot of people think, when they think Maine, they're like, oh, great vacation to just lay low. You know, really, really safe and...
So I can probably take out palm trees then.
Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fine with whatever.
I'm feeling the shore, like feeling ocean to some extent. A rock cliff, maybe a lighthouse of some sort.
Yeah.
Could definitely get worked into that.
Well, how about this? Let's do this. Let's leave the antagonist just up to each one of us. Because here's my thing about the bad guy is if we say, okay, it's this person and this is what they do, this is this, you know, if we plan it out too much, we're going to pigeonhole ourselves and we're going to come back and find out we have really similar stories.
True.
Whereas if we just leave it up to us, maybe I write about the lighthouse keeper that, does this or that, and you write about the Alzheimer's that one of the elderly people have had for, the last year or so, and it's getting worse. I don't want to pigeonhole us to the point where we end up with this train track story where you know exactly where it's headed.
Exactly. Yep. Definitely has to have some spins, some potential for. Well, I still don't even know what's gonna happen here.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's do that.
Okay. Cool. So we're running a little over time here, so we'll just wrap it up quick.
But yeah, next week we'll dive into a little bit more of this. Maybe start writing a little bit with you guys. I don't know if anybody's watching this that is like hearing it and has some good ideas. We'd love to get your input and chuck your thoughts in. Keep it exciting, keep people engaged, and keep people involved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Any resounding thoughts, Carter?
I think this was a lot of fun tonight. I think it was a good time. That's what we're shooting for is exciting, fun things to talk about and to enjoy listening to. So we hope you enjoyed it.
Totally agree. Well, thanks everyone for listening. We're going to try and get this out to you as soon as we can. And we greatly appreciate your support. And once again, I'm Shane Ryan.
And I am Carter Petrie.
And we are the Narrative Nerds, signing off.
Thanks, guys, and have a marvelous week.